In fact, you guys saw with the credit line. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Okay. Let's go ahead and start with introductions. Gary, you want to start?
Morning, I'm Gary Bryant, I'm a member of the Transportation Safety Committee. We're here to set the world on fire. Make things happen in the city.
I'm Deanna Balcarp. I'm the vice chairperson.
I'm Clay Coleman, I'm a board member.
Spencer Pollock, Public Works.
Tina Schiff, Chair.
Jenny Driscoll, committee member.
Chris Davis, Police Department.
I'm Esty Martinez. I live on 10th and Holly.
I'm Jen Gorski. I live between 9th and 10th on North Holly Street.
Well, welcome.
And we have two more people that are coming. One gentleman with a couple of children. I guess he might be delayed. So as soon as he comes in, if we could address what he wants to say, that would be great. And then we have an older gentleman that's coming to join us too. He thought it was at 8:30 at night. I just called him, so he'll be coming in too.
Yes. Okay. We're just finishing introductions.
Did we get Brianna?
Hi,
Oh.
Brianna, planning liaison for the committee.
And Tom O'Brien.
Tracy?
Yes, I'm Charlie, 8:31, I'm sorry, I usually, or before time. Tracy Hensley, City Council President and liaison to this commission.
Perfect. All right. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes of March 11th, 2025 meeting.
I second that.
Is there anything that needs to be discussed on this?
I think all good.
Okay. All in favor? Opposed? Okay, that's surpassed. Okay, so now we'll go to citizen input. So we'll start with you two since you're here. Listen to what you have to say.
Okay, I'll just, a number of us neighbors live on Northwest Holly Street, which is in between 9th and 10th Street. And we're located between Knightsbridge Road and Territorial Street. And so this is a main thoroughfare from Canby to I-5, and people use it as a bypass to 99E. So as the years have gone by, the traffic has increased and increased. The number of cars has increased and increased, and so has the people's speed. It is like a highway there. We're in a 25-mile-an-hour zone, and people rarely go 25 miles an hour. And I know because I do go 25 miles an hour, and people come through and they tailgate me and they get upset at me because I'm going the speed limit. And so the police have, I know that, and I'm not sure how much time they've done some radar there. So if you guys were to reach out to the police department, I'm sure you could get the results of the radar and how many people they stopped speeding. But I saw, probably within the last month, one time when they had radar out there and everybody was going 25 and it looked very, very different. And you probably don't need to do an expensive study. All you probably need to do is go out there during rush hour traffic and see what's going on. So I know that we were looking at the transportation plan. So I know that North Holly is a collector street and that it's also a truck route. But we do have a 25-mile-an-hour speed zone that's posted there. And traffic calming measures are needed. We have full-size pickups, box trucks, service vans, and even garbage trucks speeding through there when they're not doing their collection, but they're en route to other places. There's no stops, and there's absolutely nothing to slow people down. And the police only occasionally do radar out there, so we're it's not enough to deter traffic. There's going to be new development of housing units, as most of you probably know. There's a new 5-acre area that's going to be developed that's just been approved for development close to the corner of Territorial and Holly Street. There's new housing that's going in that's on North Holly. That's a developed housing area. And there's also a senior center that's gonna be developed at the Methodist Church that's on the corner of North Holly and Territorial. And then plus the urban growth boundary in the future is gonna be expanded most likely into the North Holly area, into the northwest part of town. So traffic is only going to increase in there. So I know from looking at your transportation plan that speed bumps are not an option because it is a truck route and because it is a collector street, but there are accidents that, you know, SD has a few pictures just that she captured of accidents right on our street. Cars are killing pets. She had a pet that, you know, a cat, and then our next door neighbors had a cat that was killed. There's a potential to kill children, seniors, car drivers, people's vehicles that are parked on Holly Street get hit. Our next door neighbor's car parking along the side of the street, it got hit. And then I think you might have had a relative's car that got hit. Backing out of driveways is dangerous. The speed of cars, you have to back out really fast because the cars are going so fast that it's not safe. And just the other day, there was a car speeding down there and a bicyclist, an elderly person was on a bicycle trying to cross on 10th Street. And the car just laid on and honked at that bicyclist, and they would have had plenty of time to cross if the person was going the speed limit. So, okay, so over to Jeff here. And so I wanted to say our goal here is to alert you about the problem, number one. And then you guys are the experts on what can be done. But when I called the police department, they said that, you know, if you go to the city council meeting, the safety committee meeting, then you could request one of those, you know, light up signs that lights up what speed people are going, like there is on Territorial Street. And we're happy to do petitions on the whole length of that section of Holly Street if we need to follow up with that. But this first meeting is just to see what can we do about that, to alert you to the problem, and then to do any follow-up work that we might have. So over to Jeff, who's got 2 children that are at risk.
I also have a couple different photos of, you know, accidents I'm sure on record that just show it at the same, all at the same
I'm gonna
intersection.
pass these down as well.
So, members of the committee, my name is Jeffrey Whitman. I'm here today as a concerned member of the Canby community. I've lived on North Holly Street for 4 years, and in that time I've witnessed increasingly dangerous traffic activity in front of my home. Volume of speeding cars concerns me. Oh, sorry, volume of speeding cars concerns me every single day, and every time I take my young children to and from our family car in the driveway. I'm terrified to even let them be in our front yard. I've witnessed at least 3 collision accidents at the intersection of 10th and Holly, as well as killed pets. Many types of vehicles use our street every day, Jen has already mentioned. Service trucks and vans, heavy equipment and farm equipment, semi-trucks, emergency response vehicles, school buses, and of course, an ever-increasing number of commuter vehicles. We have 2 problems facing us that affect everyone living on North Holly. The increased number of vehicle traffic using the streets due to the new housing developments, as well as the bypass traffic for 99, and the average driving speed for exceeding the posted 25 miles per hour. This committee must do something to address the concerns of the community before someone loses their life. Here are a few suggestions. North Holly and 10th intersection. Yes. Could turn into a 4-way stop similar to the one that's at 10th and Ivy, just 1 street over. Potentially install digital speed signs that inform the drivers of the speed they're currently traveling that exist on Knightsbridge Territorial. Increase police presence to ticket speed violators with more regularity. Or potentially, I don't know if you guys know about intersection murals. That's those have been shown to help at some points. What matters most is that this increasingly dangerous stretch of street is given the attention it requires to improve its safety for both those who drive on it every day and those who live on it and have no choice but to deal with it or move. Thank you.
So, I didn't bring any notes, so I'm just gonna speak from whatever. So I lived here in County for over 30 years. I grew up here. I've lived at my house on 10th and Holly for 30 years. I have seen many accidents there. There's the rollover one that was 10 feet from my bedroom window. There has been rollovers in my yard, and I wash my car in front of my house because our yard is small, and I'm afraid for my life at this point from seeing all these accidents happen. I'm afraid for his children, because I have a child that's grown up now, but we had to put locks up high on my door so he would not run out the door on that busy road and get run over and killed. I think that we should put speed bumps in there. I feel like the four-way stop's going to cause a traffic jam, and I feel like the traffic needs to keep flowing. The speed signs will help a little bit, but once again, it does. A lot of people ignore those, and I'm sure you know that, right? They ignore them. The speed bumps on Birch have worked on slowing the traffic down, yet keeping it moving. I don't feel it will slow down the ambulance or the fire trucks, because everyone's supposed to pull over anyways when they're coming behind you. So I'm hoping that, you know, that won't affect the ambulance and the fire trucks at all. I am mostly concerned there's a lot of the high school joggers that run down our road I think they come over here. And there's tons of them, but I'm scared one of these days, one of them's gonna get run over. Because people do not respect that speed limit on there at all. When I'm pulling out from my home, they are honking at me because I'm in the way. And it's like, okay, you're supposed to slow down anyways, so it's just no respect on that road at all. And I'm worried. I'm scared for one of those cars coming into my in my living room or in my bedroom. And as you see, that truck rollover was 10 feet, and there's been other rollovers. I think there's pictures.
There's another one in.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm scared. So I'm hoping that you can put the speed bumps in just like we put on Birch to slow down the traffic, because nobody respects that road at all. They don't. I just want to say that. Thank you.
And one more thing I'd like to add, that our senior that lives across the street from me, Roger Braun, he's on his way here right now, but he just tries to, he walks with a cane. He's 84 now, and he just tries to go out to get his mail. And he can't even go out and get his mail because people are going by so fast that he can't make the trip from his house across the street to the mailbox without being in fear of being run down. So it's several of us together just on the one block that have noticed all of these things. And if we were to reach out to other people we might have someone else that has come in to add to the stories.
I honestly just want the traffic to keep moving at the speed they're supposed to be moving at. I honestly feel like the four-way stops are a great idea, but it's going to slow down the traffic, and we don't need that. We want it to keep flowing to get people to where they need to go. And like I said, the signs, the flashing signs do nothing.
Yeah, so we don't know, it'd be
I'm
great
praying
if
we
we
can
could
get speed bumps.
Yeah, it'd be great if we could get speed bumps, but looking at your transportation plan and what is in
Right.
there as far as what can be allowed by.
Are you both with them?
Yes,
She is.
Did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah,
yes, she does.
Could you introduce yourself and say where you
hi,
live?
I'm Linda Gustafson. I live at 1000 North Holly Street. Excuse me. And I have a big kitchen window that looks right at that corner. I live at 10th and Holly. And I cannot even tell you how many accidents I have seen or near accidents from that kitchen window. Somebody just went right through, the last one I remember, someone just went right through the stop sign at 10th, wham blasted somebody on Holly Street and tried to flee the scene. A friend of mine ran after him, said, "You cannot do that, or you'll be in jail fast." He was put in handcuffs. I don't know if he didn't have a driver's license or what, but it just happens all the time. And, plus, one thing that is my pet peeve is big semi-trucks speeding down that street, Holly Street. And, I mean, if there were anybody on this walking along there, it would be very intimidating to them. This is a 25 speed zone. It's not a commercial country road. It is, it should be, there should be a bike lane on there because there's a lot of bicycles and walkers. And, it's just too commercial. It's a 25 residential zone. And I like it that way, but very few people drive 25, very few.
Sir, you just came in, did you have something you wanted to share?
Yeah.
Related to this?
Can you introduce yourself, Roger, and say where you live?
I'm, the name's Roger Bronner. I live at 953 North Holly. I've been here for 44 years. And in the last year, I don't even walk to my mailbox, and it's across the street. I've had people honk at me when I've been going across the street. I've had a hit passing gear to go out around me, flip me off. I've had kids in a Honda car when I was heading north on Holly pass me on the right side because I was going 25. So I get in my truck, I turn my lights on, put my seatbelt on, and I back across the street in front of Jennifer's house, pull up to my mailbox to get my mail, and then I pull back in my driveway because that's the only way I feel secure about going to get my mail. I've never crossed the street to get my mail in the last year.
You're 10th, you say 10th and Holly?
Pardon?
You're 10th and Holly?
Yeah, not 953 North Holly.
He's right next to me.
He's 2 houses from me.
It goes.
Well,
Between
I'm on
nine-
10th and Holly. So.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You
No,
are.
no, I live at, well,
Well,
12th, yeah, thank you.
Oh.
Did you move?
No.
Do you want to say something?
Yeah,
You want to say something?
Keeping track of stalkers.
When the weather's nice, I'll sit on my front porch and I'll drink some lemonade. And it's ridiculous how the traffic varies in speed. Some are doing 25, but you know that the rest of them are doing over 25. Yeah. Even the trucks. I've seen dump trucks doing more than 25. I've seen, seems like the Canby trash truck goes by sometimes faster than 25. So nobody does 25 all the time. You could put a cop around the corner on a side street with radar, line up a bunch of cars in the evening time from like 3:30 to 6, and you could load up on traffic tickets.
I thought the same thing.
They got in the freeway.
You want me to add?
But if you see those pictures with those cars flipped over, you have to know they were going fast.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. And that's not the only 2 flip overs that I've had in my yard. They go in my yard, I don't know how, but they do.
Hey,
And the traffic mostly already
Something.
people that
Yeah.
don't live here because they come off the freeway at Park Road, come onto 10th Street, or Holly, go to Territorial out to 99 and head toward Oregon City.
Okay, well, I have to interject, we very much appreciate you all coming. And normally our procedure on this is we welcome citizens to come and voice their concerns like you've all done. We've heard you loud and clearly. You're more than welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting, because we have a fair amount of other business we need to take care of. We do meet on the second Wednesday of each month at 8:30, so you're more than welcome to come back and visit us. And we normally like to have time to discuss the situation and look at possible solutions. We're not prepared to offer you solutions today. But again, we thank you all for coming. You're welcome to stay. But we have to move it along. And did you, sir, have a citizen issue?
I did as well, yeah.
Okay.
But if you guys have time for it.
Yeah, you go
Oh,
ahead.
yeah.
Sure, so my name's Jim Simmet, I live in work in Canby, just on the north side of town here, we'll stay on this side, I guess. Territorial and Locust, it's going north on Locust there, there's some bump outs where there's some fir trees, and then there's new houses that were just put in as well. Parking along that road creates a real havoc going, south on Locust pulling out, because you've got cars on both sides of the road. You barely have room for you to pull up to the stop sign, and you've got cars that are turning onto Locust going down that road. So anything bigger than maybe a smart car, really small car, or a bike, you can't get past that person. There's a new park that's gonna be going in on Locust. There's probably more housing that's gonna be happening on the north side of town, so I can just see that road being used more and more and more. So the issue that we dealt with on the north side coming south isn't necessarily turning off the Territorial onto Locust, it's getting out of Locust onto Territorial. And especially just on that Locust with those bump outs, you've got cars, and a lot of times the cars aren't parked up against the sidewalk or against the curb. You know, they get a foot off the curb that pushes them that much farther into the travel lane, and so everything kind of gets compounded. So there's no parking, there's no parking at all along those sides. Especially down by the stop sign would be making the most sense in my mind, but you guys are, again, the experts. So.
And again, you're all welcome to stick around, but we understand you all have busy schedules and.
Do we have an email or phone number for everybody who joined us today?
Well, you know, I did tell Teresa that, the recorder, I think, that we were coming, and that I said that we were representing 4 different households, and said what we were gonna need to talk about. Because she had said, if you wanna have time to present, then just let me know that. And so I did that several weeks ago.
She has your email address then?
Yeah, and I'm happy to write it down. And
Well, if she has it, that's great, because what will happen is they'll put this on another agenda, either next month or the month after, whenever it kind of fits in the schedule. This won't be forgotten, just so you know. You didn't just come here and give us lip service, and you're gonna be, you know, you've forgotten about it, promise. They're really good about putting it on a future agenda, and then Teresa will let you know when that agenda is, so you can attend if you wish to.
That was gonna be my question, when will we know when something is actually being enforced or?
Well, they'll need to discuss options, they'll have to just, police conversations will happen, public works conversations will happen. They'll get with, you know, they'll go over the TSP, they'll have to just come up with some options, but you'll be able to be invited to that meeting.
Okay.
So the business on Birch, how long did it take for them to get?
Months.
Really?
Big
I'm just
project.
curious.
And I don't know that that will ever happen in the city again, I'm just telling you.
Real unpopular.
Yeah,
No.
But we will,
and the fire department will fight us on it, so.
but we will discuss it and put it back on the agenda. And
Can we keep your photos?
Yes, those are for you.
yes,
Good to have those.
yeah, we appreciate you.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you.
Of course, yes, thank you for coming and bringing it to us.
Yes.
Appreciate you all.
Thank you for coming along. Thank you.
And same with you, Jim, when it goes on an agenda, they'll let you know.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for mobilizing with a little bit.
And they were good.
Yes. He's living his best life, you just get. You, just hanging out up there.
Thank you. Appreciate you all.
Have a good day. All right, so, old business. Do we have an update on the parking situation on Southwest 13th?
Okay, I thought at the last meeting I shared, but I'll do it again.
We just basically want to make sure we
Yeah.
put a nail in it and be done.
Yesterday there was a game and it was a nightmare when I came home. People are not obeying the traffic laws like normal. And they were parked in the yellow, but when I call the non-emergency, like I've been told, sometimes I see them show up, sometimes they don't. So I just am kind of like, okay, if I'm trying to go out and it's gonna affect me, then I'll call. Otherwise, I'm not gonna worry about, because I figure I've complained and tried to work with the school and can't do anything more.
Can I add to something to that? This is for a Spencer question. So when we work with those traffic study people, do they weigh in on coming up with parking solutions? It seems like, for example, there's quite a bit of area there, and it just seems like the school, if they had the right recommendations, they could create some additional parking, which would improve the parking at 13th, because it would pull the park cars off of 13th and kind of put them more inboard. I wondered if some of the experts weigh in on that, provide recommendations.
If there was any kind of new development going in that would trigger some sort of a traffic study, then I think, but I don't know. So are you saying like kind of move the softball fields in and then create kind of a parking lot there?
Yeah, like let's say as you're coming along 13th, you're approaching the ball fields, which are on the right. If there was like a little driveway that you turned in, and then maybe there was angled parking on the inside.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And then
something
we have freed up 13th.
Something a little bit more similar to like Arneson Gardens, right there in between Fred Meyer's and
Yes.
the apartment complex.
Yeah, it gets them off the road and puts them in nicely, and they got good visibility, because they have a fair amount of land, it seems like, and they could go down a quick distance, it looks like.
I think the biggest problem is just kind of where the existing softball fields are, and then how much room is in the right of way currently with the houses on the other side.
And they have a considerable outfield, so it would seem like they don't really have anybody that are parking the balls over the fence.
No, I don't think so.
Well, I know for cross country, they use the path that kind of goes around. There's like a path thing that you can like run around the whole thing, so I don't know if they're still using that or seeing on the streets, but I just know, I don't see bikes using the bike lane as much, because of the cars. And I have a neighbor that's currently parked on 13th, and he's kind of in the yellow. And I'm like, okay, it's on him if he gets a ticket or not. So, but I figure I'm just surprised that when I've mentioned before to code enforcement and other things about what time to go out there and looking at the games. I know police have a lot going on with the city, but it would be nice to see more traffic, more police traffic in that area, because we have people running the stop sign at 13th and Elm. They just blow through it.
I think I've written probably 40 tickets on 13th in the last month since our last meeting. After you spoke about it, I've made sure to make that a priority. Particularly during school zone hours too. It gets a little more difficult. Just we have the SRO, and I made him aware of it last time too about the parking situation back there. And so he's trying to make that a priority too. It's just a lot of the events are after school hours, and so his schedule is typically just during school hours for the majority of the time. But I wasn't forgotten about. And
no, I appreciate that, and I just figure I'd rather see a presence, because when I call the non-emergency number, it gets annoying a few times when you keep calling like every day, and they basically laugh at you for like, oh, you're calling again. It's like, well, I guess if I need to go out, I'll do something, but I am trying to tell people too. I'm trying to speak up, but that's why I kind of want the signs to kind of make it where when they go to park, oh, there's a sign right there.
And I will say, I know it's probably frustrating calling that, but it's helpful for us because each time a call is generated in a particular area, we get a record of where all the calls for service are. And so it's easier for us to justify to like our administration and things like that, directing more attention to one specific area if there's obviously more calls for service in a certain area. So that was that's helpful. You know, it's
Yeah.
difficult having to call all the time, but I've been trying to make it a priority too, and I know our code enforcement plans too as well, so.
No, I appreciate that. I am a member of that neighborhood that's right there, so I'm on their board and trying to work with the school on issues too because of property lines and stuff, because some of the property is our HOAs.
Yeah.
And so trying to make them aware that they can't just have their people just pitch up tents during when the Rebels are playing and stuff. They sometimes try to pitch up tents and we go out and tell them, did you have permission? So just trying to make it where there's communication both ways. But no, but I see people parking in the Mormon church, which I'm glad that they feel comfortable doing that. And I'm glad that the Mormon church allows it. I just wish that more people would think about for safety reasons, so.
So is that item closed or?
I would say it should be because I can't go any further. So I'll just continue
It's just an
complaining
enforcement
to
issue
the,
at this-
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, thank you for the update. Update on vehicles parked on Southwoods Third and Grant.
Are those still there, Jenny?
They were taken about a week and a half ago.
Okay, I
Actually.
noticed them gone too, yeah, so.
Good, finally.
I don't know what the proper path would be, but I did want to kind of file a complaint about the abandoned stuff on the corner there. There's like part of a semi truck, there's parts of cars, there's just like all kinds of crap there that's been there for more than a decade and it blocks visibility. So it's the same people who've been in the cars in the road for a few years who are responsible for that stuff.
That would also be with Chris Ann.
Yeah,
Code
just to try
enforcement.
and put that forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other vehicles are on.
Yay.
On the speeding front, did you ever have a chance to collect data further down closer to Ivy? We talked about near the end of the year.
Yes, I think you might have been gone for that meeting, because I sent that over.
I think I had that speed data on for Southwest Third, is that what you're looking for? Seemed like it was on one of my reports. Wasn't it on my report?
It was.
I know that we talked about it last month, because that was the
Oh,
first
yeah.
one I was
Yeah.
here for, so.
It's item C on the minutes.
There it is.
See, Southwest, you'll get a kick out of this, well, maybe. There was, during the period of January 23rd through February the 7th, there were 23,272 cars. Posted speed limit was 25. Average speed limit was 24. The highest recorded speed was 56 miles an hour. A suspected motorcyclist. And I think you guys thought
I'm pretty sure that we had dealt with him for a while. I'm pretty sure that was resolved, the motorcycle anyhow. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the one-off speeders. There's usually some kids who, speed after school. I was one of the non-emergency calls when we had like 3 of them that were chasing each other around between 3rd and 6th, like in a loop. The other, it was probably about a month ago now. So for the most part, people are pretty good about it. And then you've got the outliers who, jump curbs because they don't want to wait for someone coming out of their driveway. So it's one of those things. I also don't know that there's a whole lot more that we can do other than keep an eye on it. And there's going to be some new improvements to the sidewalk happening down at Ivy with the construction there. So I don't think we need to necessarily have it on there now, because I don't think there's anything more we can offer the neighborhood other than what we've already evaluated. Okay.
Thank you for the update. Okay, new business, revisit the speed limit reduction in Dorsey Estates.
Yeah, if I could touch on that. Sometime back, I think Eric was tackling this one. And I think there was a draft resolution that Spencer and Brianna, I believe you worked on. Brianna, do you feel like it's, are you satisfied with the draft in such a way to where you think it's ready for a recommendation to be adopted?
I think it's definitely at least ready for presentation. Council might have some suggestions sort of for a final draft, but I think it's definitely ready for a presentation. It's not written in such a way that it is a resolution.
Okay.
It's just the standards. So I think that would be the next step, but
Would that be presented in this meeting as a starter?
I'm sorry?
Would that be presented in this meeting kind of as a starter to?
You could do that definitely, to get everyone's input before you take it.
Chair, I would recommend that that be done because you have new members that have no idea what this plan is.
Do you have a copy of that, Brianna, that you could send to us all?
I just have the same email that I forwarded last month, and actually Bob responded to it, which I thought was kind of funny because he was still, just linked on the old email. So that's the latest I had, and that had an attachment with the regulations that we came up with.
I remember seeing Bob respond to that, that was cute.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of sweet.
I saw the email, but I didn't see the attachment.
Here, let me double check.
Or do you have it on your?
I think the one that you forwarded didn't have the attachment on it.
It didn't? Okay.
It was 3/12.
That doesn't have an attachment.
You can find it in your second about the date.
Right.
Okay. I'm not seeing the attachment. If you want to give me a second, I can try to find it and bring it up. If you wanted to talk about it in the meeting.
Is that okay, Tina?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Do we want to talk about the 99E while she's looking for that?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
I'm still kind of working my way through that, and I have a question for Officer Davis. If we were to ask you about specific crash data for an intersection, is it hard to come up with?
No, you talking about in this meeting currently, or just for the next, I could probably have it prepared by the time we have the next meeting.
Yeah, if
but
you
it's-
wouldn't mind, the one that specifically I wanted to inquire about was Highway 99E and South End Road. And when you look at the crash data, how far do you all recommend going back, like the last 5 years or?
I think it would depend on if there's been any changes made to the intersection in the meantime, which there really hasn't been. I know that that's always a problem right there, just because of the way that the road is navigated with the cones there in the middle. But I think we could probably go back 3 years, I would say, and that would still probably all be available.
Yeah,
I can try and
if you
do
would
that.
provide that, and then in the meantime too, I'm gonna be talking with the fire department too, because I'm sure they get a lot of calls to that area, and we appreciate that very much.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like Brianna got that email.
I think I found it, Brianna. So I've got it
Okay.
pulled up, and then I'm gonna print some copies for everyone to take and stuff, but this was kind of the draft, it looks like.
Dated 5/24/24.
Because the tricky part for that neighborhood, you kind of drop down a hill. I don't believe there's a presence of crosswalks, is there?
No, I lived there, though, there is a little, for the new folks, what happened was there was some folks from that neighborhood's HOA came in and wanted to discuss lowering the speed limit because everybody's speeding. There was a speed issue, I remember the report, and there wasn't as bad as what it sounded like, just like usual. But there was one individual, same time every day, who was excessively speeding, but it doesn't really matter that they were going 25, it still feels like they're speeding because of that neighborhood. And they don't have actual, what do they call those curbs?
They have
Mountable curbs throughout the neighborhood. And there's a lot of children, it's a very dense neighborhood, a lot of cars parked on the road, so just for safety's sake, it warranted lowering the speed limit to 20. And so what the group was doing was coming up with criteria so that it would be unique to this neighborhood or any neighborhoods that might be built in the future that are like this with mountable curbs, a dense population, only one way in and one way out of the neighborhood was another situation that this neighborhood has. You can only get in by going down the hill on Second or down the hill on Aspen. There's no other entrance and exits to that neighborhood. So they were building criteria before they recommended an ordinance to change the speed limit, so that not every neighborhood in the city decided, oh, well, we want 20 miles an hour in our neighborhood. We had to create some very specific criteria for this change. So that's what this document is. I hope that's a fair summary.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it'd be reasonable if we all study this over and we're prepared to vote on it next time. And
Or if there's any changes that anyone wants to recommend, move.
Is that common to go as low as 20 in a neighborhood instead of 25? Just curious.
So I believe, I'm sorry if through state statute, a city council can reduce the speed of a local street by 5 miles an hour.
Okay.
So it's not, I don't know that it would be common, but it's not uncommon.
Okay.
and there's a lot going on down there. It requires a person's full attention when you drop down that hill.
There's
You
two
got
parts.
potential kids coming out and delivering.
You see where the
products.
post office is?
Yeah.
If you keep going on that street
Yes,
for those
okay,
little,
gotcha.
almost townhome kind of
Yes.
houses,
Honda
they're
Pits.
really crammed together, and yeah.
Okay, now I was like, what in there?
Yeah.
Thanks a bunch.
Yes,
Is it good
yeah,
enough down here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right. Okay, well, so,
Lays it right along.
yeah. Okay, so, do you have a?
Do, so last month, every month we do the interagency, traffic mission, so all the departments from within Clackamas County rotate through a different city every month. Last month was Candy's turn, so we had 18 officers that worked a distracted driving mission.
Yeah, we saw you out.
Yeah, I'm sure it was probably hard to miss us, you could drive more than about 100 feet without seeing another one.
It was good.
So we had pretty abnormal amount of citations in March. There was 414 total citations issued. I believe 160 of those were from that one day alone. Most of them were speed, cell phone, traffic control device related issues. We tried to focus on 13th, Territorial, and 99. I know there was a couple of the motors officers that specifically sat on 13th for a while. A lot of people speeding through there, as you all know about already. There's 12 DUI arrests last month, which is about on par for average for a month for us. We had 9 traffic related crimes, whether it was criminal related crashes, and then there was a total of 9 traffic complaints that we responded to. A couple of them were residential and a handful of them were on 99 as well. I've kind of tried to make 13th my project for the last month or so. I've been spending a lot of time in the school zone there. It's one of the only school zones that doesn't have a flashing light in town, and so that's typically people's excuse is that, well, there's no light, so I didn't see it, that's your fault, kind of thing. And it's such a short school zone that I think people think that they can go through there without paying any mind to it. But it was pretty busy last month, so it was
Do we
good.
know why we don't have a flashing sign there?
I do not know.
Is that behind the high school?
It
or-
is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's weird because a lot of people, like I mentioned to somebody about the school zone and they're like, there's no school here. And I said, do you not see the high school in the fields? And they're like, those are fields. I'm like, yeah, the softball.
There's
field."
school fields.
Yeah, it's like, there's a school
It's
there.
why so many people don't pay attention to signs.
Yeah.
It's like, they're right
I
there,
think
guys.
Part of the reason might be, it seems like most of the school zones that have specific hours set are the ones that have the flashing yellow lights, whereas that one's posted 7 AM to 5 PM every day. It's fairly obvious. I feel like people, if they're paying any halfway attention, should be able to notice that, especially considering going much faster than that through the curves on 13th wouldn't be safe anyhow. But that has been an area that I've been focusing on for the last month or so, and I know our traffic sergeant has been too, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think Tracy, real quick too, on why we don't, it's been a few years since I've gone to the federal sign class or whatever, but I believe, if my memory serves, is that a flashing sign cannot be posted, or you can't have the flashers if it's posted from the time of 7 to 5. If it was
Okay.
changed to school hours for specific times, then I think that it would be,
Okay.
I think, but
Yeah, it's
Don't
kind of
quote me
confusing
on
because
any of
there's
that.
different kinds of school zone signs. It's like,
Cause it's the
I
same.
actually asked Representative Drazen about that. I was like, why is it, and she didn't know either. She was gonna inquire, but she's been a little busy this session, so.
Cause it's the same on the front of the high school as well, in the merch area of the McDonald's, there's no lights on that one either, so I was.
How visible is this sign with its foliage and stuff around it?
It's visible.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
And there's another one even before that that says that there's a school
School zone
ahead and
ahead,
it's
yeah.
going to be dropped
Okay.
off.
No excuses then,
there's
people.
good, yeah, there's good signage. My neighbor actually got a ticket and he's a fireman. And it was interesting. He's like, I didn't know that I was in the school zone, but he's right at the school zone area. And it's like,
Okay, well, fair enough.
Little rivalry in our markets here.
We try not to, yeah.
Usually work pretty well together.
Okay, well, thank you for the report. Public Works?
Biggest report I have is 10th Avenue is going to be starting construction at Pine on Monday. They're gonna, North 10th behind the fairgrounds, the contractor Lawson has presented us a schedule, and they're going to start with the sewer first, and so they're gonna be starting at 10th and Pine and working their way west. They think that, as of right now, they're thinking that the sewer portion will take probably till end of June, and then they're planning on bringing another crew in after a little while and start doing the storm right behind them. So 10th Avenue will have a fair amount of closures throughout the day for certain blocks. And then it might start expanding until later in the summer when they are done with all the underground and start pulling up all the asphalt and.
Just in time for the fair.
Yeah.
And so
Fair
that,
fest.
that is the other thing is, we did put a requirement on them at the end that there's no work to be done during the week of fair.
Okay.
So
Okay.
everything's gotta be cleaned up the week before, and they have to basically move out for the week and then come back. Wasn't able to do that for all the events at the fair grounds, but at least
At least
for
for fair.
fair week.
Okay.
And looking at their schedule, that really shouldn't be too bad.
Okay. Good.
It's still not going to be the most fun. Next year will be much better when we have a whole new street and everything else. So that's kind of the update real quick for 10th. Reached out to the county again to try to see if we had any more information for dates for the Knights Bridge closure. Still waiting back for a response. I keep hearing late April, early May, so they don't really have.
There was a notice posted that they've closed the park from April 1 on.
Yes.
That's why I called Jerry. I was like, okay, what day are they closing the bridge?
Yeah.
People are asking me.
Yeah, no, I went on their website trying to, through their project page, it hasn't been updated, it's still saying that it's, I don't know, it was back in November was the last time they had updated
Well,
that.
I sent an email to the county and the road department. I never got a response.
Yeah.
But, you know, I did it. And,
They might be going on strike next week.
was it for seismic or is it for weight? What is the improvements? What's the purpose of the improvements?
It's seismic.
Seismic.
But I think the seismic does improve the. weight
Yes,
capacity.
so I believe that the weight was up and then it was lowered once they
Hmm.
discovered the seismic issues. And so I think when they're doing their seismic upgrades, then the weight will go back up.
What's gonna be done about it? Where's the detour signs gonna be posted around here? It's just gonna be nuts.
It is going to be nuts.
They should just do it down at Arn.
It is down in Arn, I mean, it's a hard closure, they're putting concrete barriers
Yeah.
on the road, so people aren't gonna be able to.
But it's,
Well, but local traffic will get to go to their houses, right?
Yes, yeah, no. So they'll have the
Park here,
just
walk over.
regular barricades up on the street that say, you know, road closed, bridge closed, local traffic
that'll help keep people.
Barlow Road is going to be very busy this summer.
Has there ever been a traffic count of that intersection, say, at Art Road and Knightsbridge? I mean, there's gotta be thousands.
I'm sure it is. I don't know what the traffic is
Barlow,
out there.
Aurora, they're gonna be.
I have a friend who
bombarded.
lives on Barlow, he thinks it's gonna help him, I'm like, oh, no country, I'm for
Then we had a train, you know,
It's,
it's gonna be a nightmare.
everyone knows how much traffic uses Knightsbridge, and all that traffic for at least 4 months is gonna have to find another route, so. And there's gonna be a lot of detour signs put up. I think I have a copy of their detour plan, and I'll send that out after this meeting. It's
But
it's gonna get confusing if there's a bunch of other traffic going around,
Can I
but
add something, Spencer?
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, since that group all came here, you just recently did that speed review with Southwest Third. Would it be reasonable to do the next one on North Holly, facing the?
Didn't we just do?
We just-
just recently,
Kissner's
yeah.
came in.
yeah, right after we did Third, we
Oh,
did
we did
Holland.
one, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll see the information on
Yep.
that, and then I'll plug that in, okay, super, thank you.
Did that study do all of Holly though? Cause I know that Penny, when she came in, she lives closer to Knightsbridge.
So the one that we just did was done up at 12th, because that's where we had done it previously, so we were
Okay.
trying to compare those. If we wanted to, I could look to see if there is a good spot
Around 10.
around 10.
I think we should, I really
Yeah.
do, because we've heard from people who've come in before that that area is a big problem.
Yeah, and rollover accidents on a neighborhood street is a little
That's
excessive.
crazy.
Multiple rollovers on a 25 is definitely problematic.
So is somebody blown through a stop sign?
There's no stop sign there.
But I mean.
Well-
the
Oh, they have the
cross-
Yes.
crossway, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
perhaps they're blown through or they're leaving the stop sign and someone's coming down Holly too fast.
fast, yeah.
Depends, there's a couple different ones in
So
those
I know we don't wanna
pictures.
get super deep on the weeds on this one, but I was gonna throw out there, could we potentially put cross traffic does not stop signs on 10th where it stops at Holly if they're not already there?
I think that they are there, but
Okay.
I will
Just to
double
double
check.
check.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's an
think
easy
they
thing we
are.
could do, just in case.
Yeah, that is an easy ad.
And then the only other major update, not that it's so much with the city, but the county with the South Ivy project has started into closing off the west side of the street. I'm sure a lot of you guys
I
have
went
noticed
through there
that.
yesterday, yeah.
So that is going to continue all the way down to
13, oh,
not 13th,
Just right by, I think it's right by the
It's
school.
just
Just
right
past-
before the school.
yeah, just past 8th. So they're going to be shifting all traffic down to 2 lanes, blacking out and restriping basically the whole road of Ivy and keeping the 2 lanes open. And then as they work down and do sidewalks all the way down, and then once they finish that, then they jump over to the other side and go back
The other way.
So.
Yeah, I was through there yesterday, they got it double stripe painted already, it's,
Yeah, it's gonna be nice when it's done.
Yes.
I know there was a lot of, I talked to one of our SROs, and the parents at Lee Elementary were very concerned about it, because they park along Ivy, which is
the
an
pickup
issue.
line.
Yeah, which is not supposed to be there anyway, but there's not really anywhere else to do it, so I think they're gonna try and have the district parking lot be the new pickup area, as opposed to them sitting on Ivy, so.
That's good, yeah, because they do, they kind of sit in the parking or the bike lane
Yeah.
to go for the pickup line, and there is no room for that now.
No, especially with the new traffic idea for the pedestrians,
Yes.
is if somebody
Mhm.
parks
I
to
noticed
wait
that
there,
yesterday
then
too.
you
I was
don't
like,
have room to get through, so.
Yeah,
Great.
And that's kind of
yeah, in fact, that's where I was going, was up the village.
most of my
That's delivering
updates. Does anyone
flowers.
have any questions?
Brianna?
Don't really have a lot of big updates for you this month. Dahlia Glen is going through pre-construction soon. That's the subdivision on Holly. Adult Center was approved and is through their appeal period, so that's moving right along. Yeah, that's really all I had. If there's any questions.
Your question, yeah. I noticed that the big 2-story building at the corner of First and Elm there's a sale pending on it, and I wasn't sure if you knew what might be going in there.
I don't.
What place?
Isn't that-
Well, they're right across from Candy Rental.
Oh, the,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
the restaurant slash therapy place.
Yeah.
I don't. I would be very interested in knowing. Usually we don't know who's going in until we see a business license. So, yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Tracy?
I really can't think of much to update you on that we haven't already talked about, so if you have questions, I can answer
Well, I
questions.
think isn't there a business that's gonna go in where the siren song was?
Yes, Travis McRobbie, who is the train stop,
Train station?
train station, I always get that wrong.
Yep.
He's, gosh, what's it called? I think it's like Lucky Tea's Pub and Grub or something like that. It's
Really?
going in there, yeah.
Very
We just
cool.
approved the liquor license a couple meetings back.
Okay, thanks.
Nice. Okay, well, thank you for the update.
Yeah.
Deanna?
Just, wanna let people know about like the stop signs, cause people are posting the stop signs throughout Canby, people are just running. I don't know, I think people are just distracted while they're driving and just in a hurry, but just, I'm noticing that it's more common, but, I know at 13th and Elm, we get it quite a bit. So, but I know that other areas are too, so,
Just seems to be a common thing that people don't think they need to stop,
yeah.
you know?
I've seen a lot of it over the last year or so, going Grant heading south. So like if you are kind of in the north neighborhood, you're on Grant and you're heading south towards 99, people just blowing through all those stop signs and they park to 99.
Yeah.
It's like, this is very clearly a stop sign, guys.
Well, and I don't know if it's because people are like expecting like they want them lit or something, cause some stop signs are lit, but it's like, okay, just common, it's a stop sign.
People seem to have forgotten the
Yeah.
laws.
Yeah.
Or they don't apply to them.
Yeah.
Gary?
Nothing new. I was at First and Elm yesterday and just happened, I wasn't driving, I had my camera and I took a picture of a truck making a turn, you know, the little bugaboo I have with the little island and the radius. And I watched the poor guy out into the traffic lane, 99, making a turn in, you know, onto Elm, going to probably down there to the battery place. And I thought, okay, engineers had this great idea on paper, but they never been in the truck to see to make that turn. Just one of my pet peeves, you know about it, of course. So that, you know, maybe the city should start paying for the tires if they get ruined on that curve and just sort of like that. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Gary. Clint?
Yeah, since our last meeting, I had the good fortune to meet with our city manager, Eileen, and Spencer was there, Jerry was there, and the police chief was there, and code enforcement gal was there. And I had no idea it was gonna be so neat, but it was great. I wanted to speak to Eileen about my concerns over littering in the community and graffiti in the community, and it was a really educational one. I learned that, and correct me on this if I'm wrong, Spencer, but if there's graffiti done to any of the city properties, you guys immediately take care of it. And then I learned that if there's graffiti done to business is notified, and one of the recent ones was on the second story of the backstop, and since our conversation, that one has been taken care of. The one kind of outstanding is the one kind of down there, Napa Auto Parts.
Boss exterior.
That's a big problem for us, that alleyway behind there is tagged all with shaft.
Really?
But I just was sharing with the group that maybe we could activate on your light schedule, Tracy, all the counselors, that maybe they could activate, you know, there's like 4 quadrants of this community. And to, instead of going out and protesting, people should go out and pick up litter. And so I spent 3 hours on Saturday. When we walk the dogs, I kind of go down between where we live up near Vine and Territorial, all the way down to Redwood. And I try to keep that area pretty clean and tidy. And so I went from Territorial to Redwood, and spent about 3 hours on Saturday, filled with 3 humongous trash bags.
Oh, goodness.
And then there was someone that had dumped a play set and a garbage can and some. And so anyway, I called Spencer and he and his team were good enough to come out there and pick it up. So good job, Spencer.
Well, we appreciate you
Yeah, thank
going
you
out
for
there.
doing that.
I was thinking that would be really great use of social media time to try to get volunteers out and, to pick up litter.
There's a gentleman in Oregon City, that I see on their Oregon City Chit Chat, and he is a veteran. And he goes out and cleans up, and he'll take before and after, and that's what he does all the time.
Makes you
He
feel
just-
good.
Yeah, it's amazing
Then
what
it'll
he
work
does,
out,
so, yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for doing
Yeah,
that in the
thank you.
report.
On the graffiti note, I have to say, I even said something to George. The Cub box on the corner of Third and Cedar. There's a utility box, it's kind of in the shrubs, it's been tagged for probably 2 years, and those police officers drive past it multiple times a day, and no one's told come. Just saying.
Oh, okay. Jennifer.
So this is probably gonna be like, I don't know if there's anything we can do about it or if it's a conversation for later. But something I've seen over and over again is when we have trains go through town, when we have Union Pacific trains that decide to stop in the middle of town for undefined amounts of time, we have vehicles that have to back out of the cross streets and onto 99. They also have to back out on the First Street, but it's usually a little bit less hairy for people to do that than back out onto 99. But I am frequently at the intersection of Grant and 99. I can't tell you how many times I've watched people, trucks, cars, everything trying to back out back onto 99. And it's like, this is really not okay. And so is there anything that we could do or start discussions or somehow get a conversation going about preventing vehicles from turning onto the side streets from 99 when a car is going through, or excuse me, when a train is going through? Because we have the blocks there for not having to use the horns, so now we've got the concrete barriers. That makes it even harder for people to turn around because it's much more narrow. And so, yeah, when the trains stop, it could be any time of day. Tracy's already mentioned, we have no authority to do anything with Union Pacific to say, hey, how about you don't bisect the city? You could stop before the city or after the city. There's no reason to stop in the middle of the city, but it happens, and it happens pretty frequently. And then we have cars backing out on 99 or on First on the north side of town. So is there potentially any solution to prevent vehicles from coming, especially off of 99?
Well, there's already a no right turn permitted, like big signs.
Yeah, you're not supposed to.
I feel like it's a catch-22 because you feel like if you stay on 99,
Then
you're
you're stopping.
blocking the lane, but then if you turn.
You could be sitting
you
there
could be
for
stuck.
45 minutes, stuck, yeah. So, I don't know.
I don't know if there, I don't know, Spencer, I don't think there's anything that can be done. We already have no right turn permitted lit up signs. I mean, other than just people minding the signs and blocking 99 and having people go around them, so.
So maybe we do
I
a
don't
little
know.
bit of a social media, education on our page and on other pages, because not everybody's on the traffic safety page. And, make them aware, because like I say, it's kind of a catch-22. People think they're doing a good thing by, even though it says don't turn, they're trying to get out of the way of the flow of 99.
And which, it's a courtesy I would respect and understand, but the sign does say no right turn.
That's interesting though, because that light doesn't come on until, if I'm correct, I might be off a little bit, but I don't think the signs on 99 that say no right turn light up until the gates come down. And at that point, you've already caught cars that weren't seeing the don't turn right sign
That's true.
that are getting caught. And so that's where I can we talk to ODOT about changing the timing that the no turn kicks on a little bit sooner? Because they're getting the signal from further down, like is there potentially something timing wise maybe? People don't look at 25-mile-an-hour signs, so I'm not holding my breath that it will make a difference.
People don't look at signs at all.
Oh, this is a school zone, yeah, dude, it's a school zone. But it kind of seems like maybe possibly that, because we're not gonna be able to put down gates further out away. And that's really the only thing that would truly prevent people from getting caught. But, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I
But
think-
even those would come down at the same time and you'd have trap between two gates.
Yeah, yeah, it just sucks watching people back up on the 99. So I do not come with any more ideas than maybe the timing of when the no right turn kicks on.
I've never seen that happen, so wow, I can't believe people would actually back up on.
Well, yeah, because like, okay, like we're here, we're waiting, and now this train has come to a full stop. And anybody who's been in Canby for more than 5 minutes knows that when it comes to a full stop in the middle of the road, it's not going anywhere for a while. So then people are like, okay, well, I can either sit here for God knows how long, or I'm gonna have to back out. And so people back out.
Wow. I don't know how to solve that one.
Yeah.
So as you guys were coming in, we were discussing before the meeting kind of started, somebody had posted on Canby Now yesterday, their video cam of somebody running a traffic stop sign on 3rd and Ivy. And we're talking about how, you know, this seems to be a common thing. So the video is on Canby Now, if you look it up. It was posted by a Paul Sheward.
Is it on the north or south side?
It says the north side. North
So
side.
they kind of over near the movie theater
Um,
and the Thriftway.
yes, it looks like from the video, yeah, it's right in that area. Cause I think the car ends up turning into by the movie theater.
Okay.
Yeah.
People run first, second, and third right there. People run the stop. I don't know how to make the one at first any more obvious than there's a giant flashing sign in addition to the stop sign, but people run those 3 stop signs all the time.
Going both directions.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So that's concerning, and the amount of people still running the lights, the red lights, it's just, it's out of control. It's just like, I think they think, oh, well, I'm just gonna race through it, and by the time they're racing through it, it's full on red. And it doesn't matter what road it is, it's just, it's out of control.
Somebody did that on my way here on 99. I was like, oh, I can go, but I gotta wait for this semi.
I have teenage drivers and they're constantly making me aware one's in driver's ed right now, so she's, don't they know how to use their turn signals? Don't they know that's a stop sign? So.
Well, at least she's learning something.
Yeah, she is, but yeah, it's concerning because, you know, we have so many young drivers, we have a lot of older drivers and just people in general, and it just seems like you have to pause and everybody's so impatient. Don't know how we fix that.
Can I add one more thing? Sorry.
Sure.
Would you all suggest that for like new business, we add a topic that is Holly speed concerns as one, and then North Locust concerns, would those be reasonable new
That
business?
sounds good for next month.
Yeah, and then it sounded like, we should remove the Southwest Third.
I'd love it to be on people's minds when they're talking about the TSP and stuff like that, because it really does still need improvements, and we've got a lot of kids on that road, both little kids and high school kids. So I don't know, like I don't want it to I don't feel like we're gonna see any major changes in the near future. If we've got the speed data, obviously we have outliers, but if there isn't anything else we can do, if you ever feel like hanging out on Southwest Third
I
after
can do it.
school, there's always somebody.
Yeah.
Mikey is in.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know about having it as a standing item, just because I don't feel like there's as much.
What about this 13th, should we?
I agree, take it off, cause I'm trying different avenues, but I will just keep calling the non-emergency.
So it sounds like if we move the new businesses up to the old business and eliminated the old business and then replaced the new business with the Holly speed concerns in it.
Yep.
While we're also together this month, could we take a quick look at the territorial and locus situation that Jim brought up?
Yeah,
that's what he was talking
Oh,
about.
okay, so we'll look at it here.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else that we need to?
Good job, that was a challenging meeting with all the visitors.
And then just so that everyone knows, Jackie wrote to us saying that she won't be able to be here because of work commitment, so that's why she's not here. Just wanna make sure that it's on record.
Yeah, yeah. No, appreciate everything, and that was a lot of people, but, I mean, that is serious.
Yeah.
Those crashes are just.
I just noticed
scary.
on the pictures, some of them were from 23 and then others were from 24, so, yeah.
It's been a long-standing problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not something that just happened.
Yeah. All right.
Is that something easy for you to pull up, like a 5-year crash for that location?
Are we talking the one for Holly and
10th and Holly?
Yeah, it should be easier for me to find that than 99 South End because
That's gonna be outside,
yeah,
yeah.
so I can try and get that for next month too, I'll write that
Would
down.
you like me to scan these and send them to everybody?
If they want, I can
Or you
scan them
want
as
to?
well.
Okay.
Having
Make it
visual
easier on
copy
you.
for our records is
Yeah.
a good idea. Would you mind maybe looking at Holly specifically in the 9th, 10th area, but then also just on North Holly in general?
Yeah.
Cause I'm sure that there's some that happen beyond that.
I know most of the complaints that we get called in are typically between Knightsbridge and Territorial, but it's, people fly through there anyway regardless, so I'll look at the whole street of Holly. Or 10th, excuse me.
It's a wide street, people have, the confidence, they feel comfortable speeding down there.
Well, it's technically a truck route, isn't it?
It is a truck route.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help.
But how they got to that truck route is what I'd like to know, especially coming over the bridge.
The
Coming
bridge
from it,
is a truck route.
but it's limited in weight.
It is limited
Right,
in
yes.
weight until they get it fixed, but for years, that's how
Oh, yeah.
it has always been.
I think if I'm not mistaken, your point is they're probably not the correct weight. They're bigger trucks than
Far
should be on
from
there.
Yes, they are. They all exceed the weight.
Yes.
The city's empty dump truck exceeds the weight to go
Oh,
across
yeah.
the bridge.
See, it's what it's licensed at, the weight that it's actually licensed at, no matter if it's empty or loaded, that's the weight. And the limits on that bridge are 20 tons, not 40,000. 20 tons is 40,000 pounds, not 40 tons, which is normally trucks are loaded, are licensed for 80,000 pounds. We witnessed 105.5 right down by Jenny's
Yes,
home,
that
and,
day.
and I'd watch 105.5 come across the bridge and, where's this goofy guy going? There's nothing out here. But anyway, yeah, it's, hopefully the county will throw us a bone, put a better signage or a scale.
One thing that I think had gotten brought up, and I'm not sure where I saw this since I finished last month, was talking about the people parking the wrong direction on streets. Does anybody remember something coming up about that? Like when they're parking.
Yeah, I don't remember where I saw that.
We saw it, I know on my road,
Oh, it happens
in
on
my
street
little
all the time.
area, it's starting to be a problem of parking facing the wrong direction. And then one car sees it being done and then somebody else,
Yeah.
it happened in my little neighborhood.
It happens in my neighborhood too.
And we've got like 4 or 5 of them doing it now, and so I brought it up to the homeowners association yesterday when we were talking about some other things, and I said, well, I looked it up and it is against the law in Oregon to be parking that way, and I have personal experience as a young driver. I was hit by somebody parked the wrong way and totaled my car in a 25 zone, so tells you they were punching it off the curb. Anyway, so that's something we might wanna also just be putting on the radar that.
Yeah, I don't like
Well, we also brought up the limited parking by the new food carts. They're on the
Holly and.
third and fourth, but
Third and Holly.
yeah.
It's busy.
I don't know if anything been looked into as far as that goes, the 2-hour parking.
I know that there is talks about doing a downtown parking study. I don't know what the timeline is on that, how far out before they're gonna try and execute something like that. I have heard this kind of the same complaints that the people that work at food carts all park right there on Third, and so then everybody else is parking further away.
Yeah, if they work the carts, they should be parking like in
Yeah.
the municipal lot or
You're,
something.
you're preventing yourself from getting business at that point.
Well, yeah, we had the same issue downtown years ago of the Tom who owned the town vitamin store. He always had his truck outside the vitamin store. And then complained that
Oh,
other
Parsons?
people, no, the vitamin store.
Oh, oh,
It's called the vitamin store. On Grand
It's on
Street.
Grand,
Yeah.
oh.
kind of across from.
But it's still there, but Tom has since passed away and it has a new owner, but yeah, he would be one of the biggest complainers of no parking downtown, but yet here he is parked in front of his store.
So the big gravel lot next to the library, who owns that?
That is owned by,
Cuts for us.
Cuts Force.
Okay, I've asked this question before, but I couldn't remember the answer, so thank you.
Yeah.
I do notice that there's, I think it's Edward Jones and the Wells Fargo Bank, they put up a
One-way
gate
sign.
at night to block people from going, cause one night I went to go to food carts and I was like, oh, that's different, and I've seen that a couple times where there's something to block off their little parking lot that was for the bank, and I believe Edward Jones.
Yeah,
lot.
Edward Jones and Keeper.
Yeah, oh, Key Bank, okay, yeah.
That's unfortunate, but, you know, on off hours, you know.
Yeah, the bank's
I could
not open
see-
at night.
I could see
Yeah.
where it would be.
I don't think that parking lot is the bank's parking lot, I believe that is, the parking lot for the
The old
Edward
Parsons.
Jones or the old Parsons.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
So,
okay, yeah, I didn't know, I was like going, oh, this is different, cause I thought, oh, that's kinda nice for another spot to park if you need to afterwards.
Maybe
but
a
then
great
I'm like,
conversation with the owner of that building saying, hey, you know.
oh. Well, I might,
interest of the community.
I might check with the person, cause that's my financial advisor.
Actually, he doesn't own the building.
He doesn't know Danny
Yeah.
Caldera.
Yeah, yeah,
Can we go
but
August 7th,
curious
9th?
who.
Caldera,
August
yeah.
7th?
Yeah, let's do it. All right, meeting is adjourned.
Okay,
Let's
good
go.
Hi,
everyone.
Tom,
Oh, Tom, do you have any input?
He's waiting.
He's just waving. He's on vacation. He's
No
there.
input. I don't know a thing.
Yeah. Next time you'll have something to say, won't you, Tom?
So is Tom new on the?
Yes,
so
here.
if you
Hi, Tom.
Has he
Nice to
been
meet
voted
you.
in by the?
yes.
City council?
Yes.
Yeah, so Tom O'Brien is on a new member and he is a resident of Hope Village. And has a lot of
But he's
experience.
currently in Arizona, you say?
Yes, so welcome, Tom.
Welcome, Tom.
Enjoy your vacation.
Enjoy Arizona, we'll see you next month.
Beg pardon?
Enjoy Arizona, we will see you next month.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks again, Spencer.
Yep.
If you do want to check out Third between